more bills I have, the more excited I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like some people, the bills come in the mailbox and they go, ooh. And I go, I get excited. I stack up all the bills, and as I'm paying the bills, the more bills I'm paying, it's because the bigger I'm expanding and the more liberty I'm having. So I welcome my bills versus some people are like, ugh. You know, and I think it depends. It depends their issues with money. You know, were they one of those people that at 18, congratulations, you're on your own, and you don't have any idea, and the next thing you know, you're given a credit card and you're starting to get this revolving debt. I mean, a lot of Americans, I mean, they have a minimum or right around average, not minimum, but an average of $10,000 to $12,000 in debt, in credit card debt. And that's families. And I'll tell you, with the economy the way it is, when the stock market crashed, you know, people started to have to supplement. So in other words, as their income decreased or as they lost their job or whatever, they were flooring on those credit cards. So for survival's sake, you know, it became a whole different game. Before it was, we just had credit that was really open and free, and the government wasn't, or the banks weren't holding so tight. With Cheyenne, what I do is she gets $12 a week for her allowance, and she has to do certain chores for that $12. Then that, you know, times 4, say there's 4 weeks in a month, that's $48. She has $12 in rent that she has to pay, and she has $3 in electricity, well, $2, but if she leaves the lights on, it's $1 for every time she leaves the lights on. So like this last bill she had to pay was $3. So that's $15, and then she has to figure out how to budget that out of her 48. Having her really learn about responsibility and having her learn how to budget, you know, and then what she has to do is, so a third goes to bills, right, which would be her bills, a third she gets to spend, and a third she saves. So she's saving right now to for a trip to Washington, D.C. with her class. That's $2,000. And so what she did is she took how many weeks it was, it's in 2011, she took how many weeks it was and she divided by 2,000 to look at how much did she have to make per week for her to be able to pay for her trip. Now I could easily pay for her trip for her, but that's not the principle of it. There's certain things that you have to earn yourself because of confidence and because of ability, you know, survival ability. I think that we do an injustice to kids when we just pay for everything, and then all of a sudden they turn 18 or 19 or whatever it is, 17, and then they're like, well, what do you mean? And all of a sudden we pull the rug out from under them and we say, well, you're old enough, so you should be able to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think that's an injustice that really we could serve kids in learning responsibility and budgeting and saving, and they get to see and have confidence because they get to go buy their own stuff. Communal living is a little bit different. Well, it's actually in some ways a lot different. And so it's one of those things where I think you just don't have those core issues around money, which it's beautiful on one hand because some people have really like major hang-ups around it, but then on the other hand, it's really you understanding the acceptance of money for service versus more service for service, you know, how communal living was.